Okay, oh, real quick though, how do I pronounce your name properly?
Well, unofficially, you can. Well, Julian is just is a
Yeah.
name that many people call me nowadays. I was
Mhm.
born as my surname is Kok, K-O-K.
Okay.
So my given name was Junwen, but if you can see the similarities between sort of some of the pronunciation, because this was actually given to one of my teachers because he had like very difficulties pronounce my name. So the actual pronunciation is Junwen. So you just speak how you read it.
Junwon,
Yeah.
Junwon. Okay.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
Cook is the last name.
That's the last name. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was the only reason I ask is because as an American, I butcher everybody's names that I talk to. I mean, because every artist that I talk to seems to come from a different country, and then I just worry that I
Mm.
am going to mispronounce it. But also on the Magic cards too, it lists your full name. So I guess what was the story behind that? Like, what made you decide to like? Because I believe that on the cards it reads your full like Jinwon Julian.
Yes.
So, what made you decide to go with all four of the names?
Well, well, actually, I did not request them to put my full name because at the very beginning, when I was signing the contract, I just put my name. So
Ah,
the contract wise has my legal name and it has the uh, other name. So I just put it in. Well, later that I know they just decided to just put the whole thing. And I didn't know that during that time you can actually put like the alias or some other names.
yeah,
So yeah, and apparently, I'm not sure about now, but apparently back then when you want to change the name, there's some process going on that I wouldn't. The first card that I did was the command tower, but that was a card that was printed.
was the black command
Yes,
tower was
command tower. Yes, that's
wow.
the first one, the command tower black. So I was quite surprised when I saw my name as a full name. And yeah,
So okay, so I want to actually cover a lot of your background because you have an impressive background. I mean, first of all, I mean you speak four languages, um, which I mean that alone is incredible. You speak Cantonese, English, Malay, and Mandarin as a like oh,
yes,
that's how do you? I mean, I guess what language do you think in? Like an everyday like if you're having thoughts like what's the one that you think
right.
in the most?
I think it's English. English is the well, I didn't grow up speaking English. Well, the first my first language was with my parents was actually Mandarin, and well, it was concurrently that I learned other language at the same time. From where I was born, the town there, little town that was born, I was born in Malaysia,
Hmm.
actually. So many people were speaking Cantonese and also the because I was from Malaysia, the Malay language is the mandatory language. So everyone, pretty much on average, everyone speaks three languages.
Wow.
Yeah. I wouldn't consider myself to be fluent in Mandarin. Probably you want to put tier. The first tier would be English, followed by Malay, probably Cantonese, and then Mandarin. Um, I still have a lot of vocabulary issues when I was conversing in Mandarin with especially people from the East Asia, like China and those kind of countries. So
I mean it's
yeah.
a very difficult language from what I
It
understand.
is. Yeah, I don't think anyone in the world actually mastered the whole
Yeah,
Mandarin
yeah.
language. Yeah.
So I mean you have such an interesting background which I think really like feeds into your evolution as an artist. So you start out in Malaysia and then you migrate to England for to study, correct? And
Yeah.
and what I found interesting is up until that point, now you were obviously very influenced by Pokemon, right? Early, like, I'm sorry, Dragon Ball Z was what you were influenced by,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
And so you had the anime kind of base, but then or the manga base, then going over
Mhm.
to England, you got
Mhm.
introduced to Alan Moore and the Watchmen.
Yes. So interestingly, because when I was living in England, I was studying for a year. Well, I was staying at Wolverhampton. Is in the West Midlands, is Wolverhampton. And right after my studies, I was working at Northampton, down south, slightly down south,
Hmm.
and I found out actually Alan Moore lives there. Yeah, so the market I frequent is actually close to his home. Someone actually told me, yeah, someone actually like, oh, you're an artist, and I should read this kind of thing, and Alan Moore is like native Northampton. Like, really? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so I was introduced to Western comic, or don't call it comic book, it's like graphic novels.
Graphic novel, yeah.
Graphic novels. Yeah, I think that was the first graphic novels that I actually ever finished. Watchmen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible, isn't it?
it is incredible.
I
Yeah.
read it in college, and I it was the first time that I realized that a graphic novel could be as dense and have as much meaning as an
Mhm.
actual novel. Like it felt as full and as realized as any book that I studied in my literature courses. So, do you think because of that, did your point of view on, like, say, Western literature in general, did it open up because of that? Did you discover other pieces that were as um important to you as the Watchmen along the way? I'm just curious, like, knowing, like, where you started from, and I wondered if, like, a world opened up for you in that sense.
Um, well, I would say I think much earlier I did read some American comics like Marvels and DC that sort. So, well, I prefer comics that has like like manga has like thick. It's very thick, and then you just read chapters
Right.
because
Yeah.
I think the problem I have with the some of the Marvel's American comics because they have too many variations that I have to keep track on that. And from where I'm from, it's you pretty much can't get, there are limited supplies back then, back in the day that I can find these comics. So I have to I don't think you can access to internet and read them back in the day. So there's no such
No, I
thing.
don't think
Yeah,
so.
I
It's,
don't think so. You have to
yeah, I
just
mean,
go to the comic book store. So um there's not many comic book stores that sells American comics. So I would say from the time I was in England, that was the time I was exposed to Watchmen. That really opens the door a little bit. And I sort of looked into, I think it was Swamp Thing, right after. It was
mhm.
still by Alan Moore, Swamp Thing. And subsequently, I just follow up some of the English comic, the graphic novels and stories from there.
And do you think that that had any sort of influence on your eventual
Mhm.
Magic and Dungeons and Dragons illustrations? I mean, you bringing sort of like that Western feel to it, because you have such a world, you have such a, like, a worldly um catalog that you work with. I mean, obviously, I mean, you're famous for the Django Seat of the Empire, right? Like, that's the one that really blew up for you. But then you've got the Gavany um paintings, and then you've done so much for, like, Bloomberg, like the paintings you did for Bloomberg. There's a very like, English feel to it, or at least European feel to it. And I wondered
Mhm.
if maybe the stuff you read helped influence your artistic abilities.
Well, on the architecture, not so much, but on the sometimes when you do an artwork, yes, in short, Western style of comic books and some of the um, fantasy paintings that I look up to, definitely has a huge influence on me more than mangas and Eastern style of approach, right? Visual approach. So I would say in terms of comic, this I was looking into this book by Andrew Loomis. It was a figurative drawings, and some of the anatomy thing. And then when I read Watchmen's, so I sort of noticed the similarity in this kind of like, oh, this is how they draw. This is how they draw the strokes. This is how they define the human form, something like that. And pretty much, I think my whole influence on the thing I've done for magic, like the architectures, everything, has got to do when I spent my time in England. Because that was before that I only see this thing in photos, right? So this is like I'm seeing
Yeah.
it like in real life. Like okay, so I can even like look at the textures, the feel, the environment. So it sort of give like a realism vibe. So the best reference you can get is to go out there and just experience them yourself. It's definitely helped in my works in if I've done so in the past. So that adds up to my visual library. So whenever I do any architecture works, so it sort of helps big time rather than just doing by just looking at the photos and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read you made a really good point. I think it was on your Blue Sky profile where you talked about how important it was to be able to draw things as realistically as you can. Like I think it was just you had a photo of a street in Japan or something like that, and then you drew the street at like just as it was, nothing fancy, and how you mentioned that it was important to keep yourself grounded in order to be a better fantasy painter, which I found really interesting.
Yeah, it's I mean I'm still learning through because it's like an ending journey
Hmm.
for to do this sort of thing because I mean I tend to forget things sometimes. So it's not that the fundamentals are still are still there, but it's just that forgets like how does it look like and then things like because I need to um remind myself when I was in this place, etc. And
Yeah.
then what I experienced back then. Because if I try to illustrate something, and usually I illustrate out of my imagination. I prefer to do that because I don't want my stuff to look like like a carbon copy of any other thing. So I prefer to the first stage I always try to imagine the scene, try to bring out all the visual library from my mind and just try to like but then complement supported by some of the references the photos that I took. Like I prefer to use my own photos actually.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Uh,
That's a and that has to make you feel like it's less if it's your photos, it still feels like a part of you because you're using your photographic eye, which is art as well, to base your art off of. It's not like it's sort of you're sampling from yourself, you know what I mean?
exactly.
And so like when did you decide that like magic was going to be the goal for you? Because I know that you set out pretty early
Oh,
that you wanted this and you wanted it bad. So when did that happen?
whoa, a long time ago. I played Magic during a very long time ago. So during a Weatherlight. Is it
Yeah,
Weatherlight? Yes.
that's
Weatherlight, Tempest, Stronghold. That's are the sets. But I started on that period. But then some of my friends who started earlier, like they play around Mirage and Arabian Nights that time. But I get actively when I was playing during Tempest Stronghold era. And I look at the art because the first thing I saw, I think the first thing I saw was like some art done by Kev Walker, I think. I can't remember which one. They are, I think they are British artists, Kev Walker, Greg Staples, Kyle
hmm
Kershaw. There's another one, I think it's Italian or American, Paolo Parente. I can't remember this,
Yep, yep.
where he's from. Yeah, so I look at the art, I was like, oh my God, what? It's like the first thing. it's because I was around 9 years old, I think. Yeah, I think about there. So I look at this art because I have never seen anything like that. As you know, I grew up with manga. It's all black and white. I grew up with Dragon Ball. I grew up with like things are a bit watercolories, like pen, pencil, things like that. When I look at all this Magic the Gathering art, and I remember there's one art by Donato. Mr. Donato. He was it Peacemaker, I think. So I thought it was a photo, and
Yeah,
then yeah, so
yeah,
like, is that a real human in that thing? If you look at it right now, it still looks as real as it. Yeah, it was just way ahead of the time, and I really amazed that I played the game. I really enjoyed the game, by the way. So
yeah,
it's very simple mechanics, totally simple, but it can be complicated if depending on the players you play with.
hmm.
So I was really immersed myself in the games. So when I was in school, the principal saw us playing and they thought we were like gambling some
Yeah,
sort.
right.
So they decided to just confiscate um everything. So
Uh,
well, back then Magic was, I mean, as a student was, it's like a pocket money. Buy those cards were pocket money, so savings, and then we were pretty upset. But at the end of the
yeah,
semester, so eventually the principals will just return everything. So yeah, during that time, I was so amazed by all these masters, the OG, the original masters that does all these cards. So from that moment, I think it would be cool to just like do for Magic because I mean it's gonna be a dream come true, right? But I didn't think that much because I was a kid, right? So and when I went to high school, um, I stopped for a period of time. So I stopped somewhere right after Mercadian Mass. I stopped and then I was focusing on my studies. I was doing like, I still keep drawing. I get a bad grades, by the way. I focus on my studies. I'm a horrible student. And
well, I mean,
yeah,
not that bad. I mean, didn't you graduate with honors? I mean,
well, yeah, because I subsequently right after high school I enrolled in a college, art college, and then that's where I get my diploma, and I went to England, of course, to get my degree. But that was skill based. I was very happy when I get into an art college. It definitely helps myself to envision my goal. But during that period, I sort of forget I want to become a magic artist because
yeah.
I stopped playing. And then I went back into it because I saw like they are still players in Malaysia. It's like quite active back then. And then and I the art still amazed me. So I didn't really plan on become like, okay, you know what, this is going to be my ultimate goal. But later that I know, when I was in England, I came across much more magic stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it's like they sell more products. Like I can access them like easily. They sell more products, and that was when well, internet gets a bit better, so I can just go to a website. I actually purchased one original art from Greg Staples through eBay. So I bought that, and then that sort of okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do this full time. I'm just gonna set
Wow.
it as a goal. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I tried painting. I did a lot of marker drawings, so acrylic and things like that in college, and then that was the peak right after colleges. The peak of digital art.
Yes.
So the peak of that was in 2006. So back then there's this thing called conceptart.org. Everyone was doing like fantastic sci-fi thing. Digital art is the next big thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you don't do digital art, you're gonna like, there's a lot of talks like, oh, you're gonna get left out, you're gonna not gonna work in the industry or things like that. So I'm quite skeptical about because I like doing traditional. I like pencil. I like doing my markers. I did lots of acrylic paintings. I
Yeah.
mean, not a fantastic painting, but at least I did some of them.
But
So
you were training
yeah,
yourself. You were teaching yourself how to become the painter you wanted to be.
I at least I yes, well I try because there's so many things that I think the the challenge is time. So during that time, I need to find a job because no one's hiring like, you know, uh, anything else apart from digital illustrator or like animator and motion graphic designer, something like that. So I need to find a job, and then eventually I found one. I was working in England for a while. So I was like doing storyboards, motion graphics or anything like that. So I pretty much stopped doing traditional for a period of time.
How long would you say?
Um, you mean how long did I stop?
Yeah.
Um, I think about 4 years.
And it was
Yeah.
that when you were working at Ubisoft or is
No, that was way before Ubisoft. I
okay.
stopped, and then yeah, so I st because I think there was the demand that everyone was doing digital art, and then I have sort of like have to focus on that for a while. But ultimately, the principles of art still applies on try to applies on all the work that I produce. So I mean, lots of bumps. I'm not the kind of smart artist. I would say I'm just like hitting the walls. I don't know. Sometimes I don't really know what I'm doing because and then right after I left uh, England, so I came back to Asia, and I sort of went back to the college that I was studying. I taught for 2 years, and I'm using that opportunity to try to, you know what, let's get back to square one. Basically, like I'm still teaching students, but I'm not teaching. I'm going back to doing the strengthen my own fundamentals and things like that because there must be something missing because I couldn't get the results that I needed. And
Mhm.
I genuinely feel that it's not good enough to be considered as 100% professional, like professional illustrator. So
Yes.
yeah, so definitely something missing. So I just um get back to square ones, draw from whatever you have learned before, and try a new approach doing that. Because sometimes when you're working, you don't really, I mean, as a professional artist, like I was doing graphic design, as a motion graphic design and some graphic design. Sometimes it's because it's really depending on the client's requirements. So if they ask you to do something stylized, you just gotta do something stylized, right?
Right.
So most of the time, you don't really get to do what you want. I would say 80% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really get to flex those creative muscles that you would
Hmm.
ordinarily do if it was personal work.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the challenge because I need to like add on hours right after working hours to just try to draw something. And I think the best thing working for Wizards, um, Dungeon Dragons or Magic is that I have a lot of creative freedoms. I think the trust they give us artists, I really appreciate that kind of trust because that is really important to me because um up until last year, which is my recent full-time job, I was at Ubisoft, right? So up
Hmm.
until last year, I think that the luxury of going creative, I gained a lot through working for stuff like Magic the Gathering and definitely the art directors are extremely helpful. And but the reality it's like a reality check for me. So you get to see other artists that does this card and then they're so amazing. And then just imagine you're gonna do another version of that. And you're not gonna make it worse than, So
Yeah.
yeah, so you gotta like, oh no, I gotta max speed, man.
Right. You sort of you feel the need. You're like, I got to step up because this,
Exactly,
I'm
exactly.
playing the with the big boys and girls now. Which, but at the same time, how exciting was it when you finally got word that they were interested in you doing that command tower? I mean, how
Mm.
excited were you? I mean, what was I wonder how much pressure were you under to make that piece like really kick because that was your first assignment, right? So like how do they let you know? Did they give you an email and say, "Hey, we saw your portfolio. We'd like you to do this," because that's a really kind of unique first assignment to have, like a
Mhm.
collection, to be in a collection.
So I before Magic, I started working for D&D 2014. So that was a different dynamic. And then, well, they're from the same company. So after working for a while, and then in 2019, I believe, was it 18 or 19? I cannot remember. I think it was 19.
Yes.
I saw email. No, I did not read email. It was through Facebook. I saw the art directors, and then I just messaged out like, hey, you know what? I did D&D. If you're interested in my portfolio, maybe you can use me for Magic the Gathering, any assignments, and I would appreciate it if can be considered to be part of the team. Uh, well, the art director replied me, and then I think she saw some of my work that I did for D&D, and then she's okay to give me a shot. So I did not know it was going to be Command Tower until I look at the brief. Like, wait a minute, this is a Command Tower, right? So yeah, so I'm very excited. And I have a little story while I was doing the art because at some point while I was doing it was all smooth and everything until the last bit. And actually my file was corrupted. So I finished the painting like 80%. And then the file just I saved multiple files. And
Hmm.
then some of the files for some weird reasons it was corrupted. So I have no reason why. Yeah, it's just like I can't even open the files or anything. So
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
oh my God. Yeah. And then I think the deadline was like in 2 or 3 days.
Oh God.
So yeah, it was very bad. And then I don't think I have time to start over again. So I think I went to purchase something to get back the backup file, at least part of it, and then I have to like, quickly repaint the artwork. So
Oh, that would
it
have been
was excitement,
terrifying.
and this was excitement, and then I get terrified
Oh my God. Yeah.
at the
Wow.
end. But luckily I managed to pull it off because when I submit the first draft after all the incidents happened, there's a feedback coming back to, oh, can you help me change this? Can you change the color? Oh, thank God you asked me to change this, which means I get more time to make it even better. So yeah. So I was really excited. I was really excited. It's such an honor to paint in such an iconic card.
Yeah, well, I mean, and now what's interesting about you is that you've sort of paved your way with your own like iconic cards. I mean, you can't argue that you've blown up as far as recognition goes. I mean, out of nowhere, there you are at the fests, with your booth, and you've got the lines of people, and you're signing all these autographs and people, they know who you are now. I mean, like you're a recognizable name. Does that weird you out? Is that ever strange that you're sitting there thinking like, wow, I'm here like doing the thing like with all these amazing artists, and I'm one of these amazing artists. Like, do you ever just get like an out of body experience from that?
But I don't think I'm that fantastic compared to other artists. But I think it's the recognition was because probably they enjoy the work that I do, or probably also because they trust. Um, I mean, I hope they trust I did a good job. I hope I
Oh,
did a
oh
good
my
job.
goodness, come on. You can't be, I mean, first of all, your artwork jumped like the colors. I mean, I mean, when Kamigawa came out, everybody was crapping their pants over the artwork of that set. Like everybody was just blown out, and yours was one that stood out. I mean, it wasn't just that it was on a popular card. Your artwork really captured the essence of what, you know, the Neon Dynasty looked like. And it was amazing looking at some of the photographs that I think that you took of. I'm thinking it might have been Tokyo. I could be wrong, but it was a very, very urban city, and the pinks and the purples and everything that it almost was like, wow, did you walk through Neon Dynasty, in real life and just sort of have like this version floating in your head because it felt like an established place that was and I think that that was a real tricky thing for everybody to sort of buy into because everybody was very nervous that, okay, oh, we're going back to Kamigawa, but is it going to feel like
Mm,
Kamigawa because it's
mm,
in the future now? And
mm.
your stuff just, it clicked. So I think the attention was not just from the art directors, but I think the fans as well. They, everybody noticed.
Oh, thank you. So of course the concept team and the art directors made a significant the great art direction for the Neon Dynasty.
Hmm.
But also at the same time, I think one thing that has helped me was as I was doing a lot of digital art, I tend to use magenta-ish, that kind of, it sort of becomes like a habit. And then when I get to do the set, Neon Dynasty, the set, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can actually apply this to this set, But it wasn't planned because it just happened that I like using a certain specific colors of the art.
Hmm.
Probably because I think when I was a concept artist, doing for games, because I was prior to that I was working at LucasArts. I was doing Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
So I was doing a lot of Star Wars things. So from there, I sort of like um paint started the painting with, like, imagine that there's a scene, there's no light. I started everything dark and then sort of build up the lights from there. So that becomes like a sort of like a habit to me. And then when I get to do the sets, definitely helps big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps a lot. So and the varieties, the I think the familiarity with the East Asian culture, I'm quite
Hmm.
familiar with the architecture and structure, this kind of thing, because if you move a little bit of the essence in the design, it's not gonna look like Japanese influence anymore. It's gonna look like, oh, it's people will say, oh, I don't know what it is, but it looks Chinese than Japanese.
Yeah.
So I
It,
understand there's the, for example, like the roof. So the roof part, if you do, okay, so apart from the style guide and the art direction, so when I was painting, and I get this kind of what do you call it, habit, a habit of comparing, different cultures, different design thing in my mind. Is like, because I'm very sensitive with certain look, especially when doing things cultural.
right. Yeah.
So yeah,
You want to be sensitive to
yeah,
respect people's,
yeah,
origins. I get it. Yeah.
exactly. And so that actually helps me define so that I don't sway away from the original. And someone, when you print the art, it's gonna be that small, right?
Yeah.
When you look at
Yeah.
a card, so it has to be recognizable at a distance. And so I'm very careful with some of the things that I was doing, especially this kind of design that involve cultural things. Yeah.
And do you think, I mean, and what's interesting is that what I've the art directors, whether it be Don Murin or Zach Stella or Video Cartagena, I mean, like they all seem to really they knew that you were able to rise to the occasion for each assignment that you got, and the assignments that you were given were really they were very different. Like for instance, like the I'm sorry, this is I'm sorry, White Sun, the White Sun
All right.
Zenith. Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm
this
curious to
background.
hear the story behind, I'm sorry, White Sun Twilight. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear the story about that because you had mentioned that that was one that gave you trouble. And I'm curious as to why that particular piece was a challenge for you when I would assume in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, doing that architecture would be the thing that would threaten me. But so why do you think it was that piece that gave you trouble? And what was it, all the Phyrexian stuff or just that one in particular?
That well, it came to a long time where I don't really paint figure that often.
Hmm.
So it's like human sculpture figure. So I was very much focused on environments, architectures, and things like that. So when I get to do White Sun, which is the one you're looking at right
Hmm.
now, I think that's probably the first. No, actually, it's not the first, but it was such an iconic uh, character. So it was a monument based on
Yes.
Elishnon. So I don't want to get it wrong. I mean, if you get it wrong, people will just. I mean, players. I'm a player too. So I'm trying to put myself as a player. So I don't want. I want to get it. At least I want to get it looks as cool as I would have imagined, and has to look like Elishnon, and then um yeah, I feel I I think the pressure was because partly I gave to myself because I don't want to make it so I mean get it out of proportion, like something people can't recognize.
You're sort
Um
of like your own worst enemy because
yeah.
being both an artist and a player, because I've talked to a lot of Magic artists who've never played the game, and I've noticed with a lot of them, it's sort of peaceful for them. They'll be handed this very important card and they have no idea that they're doing an important card. They're like, "Oh, it's a Lotus? I didn't know that that was a big deal, you know?" And so
Mm,
that is interesting because as a player, a longtime player for you,
yeah.
you've got like double duty because not only does it have to look good, but you have to like be okay with it being part of the universe. And that must be so much pressure, especially with something as iconic as the Phyrexians.
Yeah, in this case, yes. I mean for this card, because I did two. So this one is
Yeah.
a white suns. There's
Hmm.
another red sun. Uh, I think the red sun still okay
Oh, I love it.
because the color was I think was he's not white his
He's red.
tone is red, and the monument was black,
Yeah.
brownish, yeah. So I think white sun it's very tricky because to paint something white in an environment it's sort of kind of challenging to me at least. So and when we get the brief, and at least when I get the brief, most it's not most of the time. I think all the time we don't really know what the card does. We just have a brief, and then we have this scene. The mics is coming out from this in this case is coming from the structure, and then I look at the brief like it doesn't make sense because it sounds so weird. It's like all
So
this,
the brief just says a monument to Elish Norn,
yeah.
and maybe it'll say, and it's bright sunlight coming down, something like that.
Well, they didn't particularly bright sunlight. They say like, oh, they have more than two suns.
Right, because
And then you
okay.
have all these like mites. I think they're called mites, right?
Yeah, the
The
Phyrexian mites. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, fine. So there's these mites coming like spilling out from this structure. Like, what is going on? So it's
I
quite
mean,
interesting. Yeah.
and I call me crazy, but I noticed, I feel like with the work that you did for the Phyrexian, it it almost kind of haunts some of the landscapes that you've done since then. Like even with the stuff that you did for the I think it was the Singapore Championships, I felt
Ah.
like there was just, I mean, maybe not on purpose or, but like there was a touch of Phyrexian in those worlds, like because I noticed one of the
Hmm.
characters that you drew, you're standing there, it almost looks like it could be the Phyrexian symbol that's on
Hmm.
his back. And I wondered, you know, was that on purpose or was that just something that you threw in? Because one thing I noticed about your lands is that your lands really convey that the Phyrexians have been in the multiverse. There is no question that some sort of devastation has happened. And I wonder, is that something that you're doing consciously?
Uh, Partly, yeah. I think most of the time it's because I think the habit that I get is I like things that is recognizable as an instant. So, for example, like I think it's solely. I don't think I started out like that. For to be honest with you, I started out very conservatives and just it's like now I'm like, okay, you know what? Just look at this thing. This is big. This symbol is here. It's a bit more daring because I think over time, while I was doing magic, I was also working full time at the same time,
Hmm.
right? So my job sometimes requires me to be very my full time jobs at the game studio. Um, I mean, all the game studio requires me to be very IP oriented,
Right.
very precise. And when I was doing Magic, the art or all the illustrations for Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, and they have their own requirements, they have their own directions, but the creative side, the exploration side is like I say, it's like a luxury to me, so that you can self-express yourself a little
Yeah.
bit more. So I don't think I planned that. I think it's more like a natural shift from from what I've been doing multiple jobs at the same time. It's like, oh, now I can, I try to uh, be more creative, be more daring in such a way. And the symbol comes in was I enjoy painting. I think there's a swamp. I think it was a
Hmm.
swamp that I did. There's I think March of the Machine. There's a
I
swamp, or is it
Yeah, that's well, yeah, the swamp where it's got
dragon symbol in the middle?
the omnipaths opening right over the
Yes, yes.
sky. Yeah,
Mhm.
that one's brutal.
Yeah. So when I was doing that, I think the brief helps, and then I look at the brief. I was painted it, and then once I finished the art, and then I thought, oh, this idea is pretty cool. Maybe I can just apply elsewhere, but with a twist. It's not like a carbon copy, but with a twist. But usually when I was doing that, I do not look at the art that usually as much as possible, I don't look at the art that I've done, but I'm just trying to remind myself inside my head so that I can have other elements to mix around with if I do a new art. So you probably, like you say, you probably see similarities, but sometimes it's not really intentional. Sometimes it's just the way I paint it. So yeah, I think over the years I have a different way of uh, doing and also kind of illustrations that are influenced by all these kind of decisions.
I mean, I don't know. Well, I think what I meant from it really is that I, as a narrative for
Mhm.
somebody who is very invested in the magic story, I love things like that because through your painting, you're letting me know that this story is actually happening because it's easy to, just paint a pretty like field and say, oh well, the Phyrexians did damage off screen over there, but in this field it's just pretty. I mean, your your art really stresses that, and I think that that's what made it so enjoyable for me. Not to say that other people neglect it, but I think maybe because you are so invested in the story as a player that you might be, using that as a narrative tool rather than rather than maybe habit. I think I love it as the reader in me just goes, oh, that's like an Easter egg for me. That's it's a thing that I can find that, I go, am I the only one that noticed this? And like
Mm.
it's a sort of, it's treasure hunting. I mean, it's also like your Jin Gitaxis, like that must have been wild to paint too, because there's so much happening and it's so expressive, and you jumping from saying you're not used to doing figures to straight up doing a proprietary, like in full glory that's going to be serialized, and you
Oh
killed
yeah.
it. You
Well,
killed. I mean, you did it. I mean, you nailed it. So were by that time were you more comfortable doing these types of assignments? Because there's no way that you could have been feeling nervous doing that one, because that one is just like bam.
I have to give credit to my then art director, Dawn Marine was she put a lot of trust in me, and then I think the other art directors as well. They for example, like I was an environment person that did lots of environment
Hmm.
art compared to figures, and also for in Kamigawa, I think the art director Zach Stella gave
Hmm.
me an opportunity to do like a construct. There's a
Hmm.
containment
Yep.
construct, right? So ultimately, I try to do my best, and when I get characters, I was also as excited as well any magic work. I'll get excited even until now. So I'll get extra hype because I tend to paint something very different and it's something iconic like Jean Cartesius, right? So and and in terms of the story for that piece, they have usually the important characters. They usually have a little concrete, brief. So the ones, like oh, this. I think he's actually destroying a mech. It's like a Kamigawa mech, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, I mean, not destroying. He's like, making it into his own version of
Yeah.
machine.
He's creeping it.
Yeah. So, but like you said, I think as a player, it has also helps big time because sometimes I was illustrating something and I look at uh I know some of the cards like Gene Cartesius, right? What does he do? This mechanic. Oh, he's a blue creature, and then he's like, he's high mana cost, and he's quite, he's not really a short guy. He's a huge one. He's not like, like someone who's small. He can influence like life form or something like that. So I pretty much know a bit of that, and then sort of helps me how to, you know, um, do some decision making when I was trying to like, should I put a blood or I mean you can't put blood in magic, but the oil and then this kind of like his some effects and a lot of all these little decisions that I have to look into the law a little bit and
Hmm.
try to get some of the inspirations as well. Of course, like adding up with all the briefs and things, I hope I did my best to convey the message through the art. But having said that, not all sets are like that because there are some sets I need more directive directions.
Okay.
Yeah, like for example, things that like I think I did some of the Ixalan thing. Ixalan's set. I did a couple of them. I did a Whisper Silk Cloak.
Yeah, which was, I mean, that was insane. What a cool take on a card that we all know. I mean, we've all seen the cloak, just sitting there, but for you to have it on this character and showing
Mhm.
it working its effects, it took me a while to realize, oh, that's what's going on here, and it's a really cool realization.
Yeah, thank you. Because I look at some of the art that I'm not familiar with. Sorry, not art. I mean the culture because the culture was like a
Like,
Mayan or Incan.
yeah, Aztec,
Yeah,
like mine, yeah.
Aztec. Yeah. So I wasn't very familiar with that, so I have to read the brief like over and over again. Like I don't want to get this wrong because I'm like totally uh, uh new to this kind of cultural elements of things. So of course, but like I said, the story in the law, there are vampires, pirates, right? In Ixalan.
Yep.
So that also helps. Like, oh, maybe she can just like hide from the because the shadow is supposed to be a vampire, uh, dude, like just walking across. And also, I look at the cards like, oh, it's supposed to is just a shroud, right? He's it's not hexproof, but it's a shroud mechanic. I think it was a shroud, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so so I'm thinking, well, how can I, you know, how can I blend that in like this kind of, because I have prior to the final painting, we always give sketches like ideas and things like that. And also things like expedition map, for example.
Hmm.
And I was a modern player at some point, and I faced a lot of Tron players. And I get to do expedition map like goes there.
You're like revenge.
Yeah, like so I know what the card does. I know what it's good for. So and then they're gonna reprint that on Excel, and I was quite surprised because am I gonna just paint the map that's huge because you know?
Right, right. It's you have to do a twist on it. But I mean, they seemed really you seem to adapt to whatever is being thrown at you. I mean, whether it be the Tiamat that you did or which is what I found also really exemplary is the work that you did on Bloomborough. It's almost like you are opening your wings as to what you can do as an artist. And you can you're very diverse. Are you discovering that you have the ability to be as diverse as you want to be now at this point in your career?
I'm not sure whether that's a good thing. When I say I wouldn't mean as a bad thing, but it's more like I like to do things differently.
Hmm.
It's sort of very experimental. But of course, I do my best to adhere to the art direction for the set.
Oh yeah, but I mean
Yeah,
that's not a problem for you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, like that's what's really great about your work is that it's always on point with what the assignment is. I mean, obviously, you don't have people like Zach Steller, Don Murin, or Ovidio Cartagena saying, "Hey, we want you on this project." If you're not able to do a good job following the art direction, like that's great. But like your work is it's fun to guess which one you've done because you have such a wide range of what you can do. Like it's almost like how would you describe your style if you had to do it? What would you say your style would be?
That's a very good question. I mean, pardon me, I haven't answered your first question because I'm still thinking what's the best way to put it. Um, so I think the way is obviously the tools that are used to create art will somehow have a significant, I wouldn't say significant, I'd say a minor shift in how with the outcome. So for instance, if I decided to have like a 3D base mesh to start off with, or sometimes I'd rather just paint, right? So, and I realized lately at some point that I prefer to hand paint everything uh, because I think that's something that I try to reattach myself to when I just started to do art is
Right.
that because now there's so many things because I was a concept designer my by profession I was doing a lot of all this like concept design which do sort of 3Ds and things like that but I don't get the essence of satisfaction doing that for consistently like throughout the years. So ultimately, I discovered that the ultimate satisfaction is hand drawn, hand paint. This kind of thing because I when I was younger, I thought it's really impossible to paint something complicated. You have to rely on 3D. You have to things like that, architecture and things like that. But later on in my later professions, I'd say a couple of years back, I realized that that's not really the case. It's just a matter of devotion and time. So you need to work a bit. I mean, I need to work a bit smarter to enjoy. I think the most important thing is that whether you enjoy the process, because the style wise, if I do something mechanical compared to something organic, I would approach them. I try to approach them the same way, which is right now I'm trying to do it hand painted, rely on hand painted, and to add on to that, I'm slowly like shifting myself to be a more traditional painter right now. So
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
there's a movement towards that with a lot of the artists because not only I think does it I think it's a natural reaction to all this AI bullshit that's happening
Mm-hmm.
because that makes sense. If this AI stuff is threatening the very like food from your mouths, the first thing you all are gonna do is okay, well, fuck it. We're gonna do this thing traditionally. We're gonna do it in a way that the computer can't do it. And then not only that, but I've at least with all the artists I've talked to, there's also that um feeling of like of accomplishment having a physical thing there that you've made.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, aside from that you have mentioned, I think doing traditional it's supposed to be more personal too, because when I started oil, I think like 3, 4 years ago when I started using oil, so it is such a fantastic medium when I was apart from the scent and the smell.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I started doing oil, so I was actually watching some videos by Donato, Jeff Mercola, how they use the medium and things like that. And then I sort of give a shot. Like I think there was a while back. I think during COVID, I think there
Hmm.
was like 2018, 2019. No, actually, correction. Sorry. So I did some stuff for Fantasy Flight Games
Hmm.
in 2016, long time ago. So
Yeah.
there are a couple of things that yes, I remember now because I almost forgot that I did some of the artwork. I don't know for which franchise, but I sorry, for which IP, but I did using oil. So I think that was when the first I
Yeah, it was your
get to
very
know.
like it was a very early your earliest pieces. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, a forest, and there's some. Oh my God, that's so long ago.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it
I'm
was
so
definitely
sorry.
I think it was one of your key frames that you did. It I and it like was it that one or was it the one that was featured here in Spectrum?
No,
The
wasn't the one in Spectrum. I have to look it up, but so it wasn't the one in Spectrum. The one in Spectrum actually was for D&D, and that was done digitally.
which I
Um,
mean I couldn't tell. I mean, that was it looks fantastic. I mean, it looks like painterly,
yeah,
which
because that one was hand paint, everything hand paint, digitally hand paint. Uh, so so moving to traditional like oil, so I discovered the power of oil. It's like, oh my God, this is like digital painting, but in traditional.
yeah, right.
So now, and I spoke to Chris Run like when I was at Magic Con, and then and he was telling me that yeah, this is such a fun medium, and you should invest into it, and then it can do like what digital art can do, and it's like, oh, that gives me more confidence to get into it right now. So I have like a couple of Magic's work coming up, was done in oil. So now I do my best to slowly transition into that, because yeah, I mean, on the other side was the old like AI thing going on, which I think that sort of like I don't really know why people, I mean, when I say people, I mean non-artists, but
Yeah.
businessman or anyone, they so heavily invested into AI generated image, but that hasn't proved anything to the industry yet that this is
No,
the way to go.
it's I mean,
So
look, it looks like crap. It's still I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm not a an expert by any means, but all you have to do is look at it and you're like this thing is disturbing. And
It is, yeah.
it's the uncanny valley plus also fingers and hands, and you can't get it right. You can Donato Giancola can do hands. AI can't do hands, you know what I'm saying? It looks shitty, and I also can't stand it when people, I mean, it bothers me even when people say it's AI art. I'm like, that's not even fair to call it art because
Mhm.
it's there's this great quote by this author, Truman Capote, where he was insulting another author and he goes, "That's not writing, that's typing." And that's how I feel the difference between what generating A is. He's like, you're not painting, you're just you're giving a direction and it's doing it for you. Don't call yourself an artist. That's not the proper word. You're just a,
Yeah.
a
I,
dummy.
I, I, so that goes way back also, like this kind of thing when the first digital art just started. So that's also part of the reason why I want to move to traditional because I think that I myself, when I was doing digital art, I sort of sometimes I take things for granted. For example, the undo button is like a huge thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know for working for clients, you need speed, it's about that, but having said that, as an artist, I think to improve or develop as a person, I need to find at least on my end that what do I actually enjoy doing? So how do I consider myself as a good artist if I can't really do something you were born to do with pencil and paper, paint and paper, or canvas? So that is like a true meaning, at least to me, what a good artist means. You can control medium, you can control the colors. It's all from your mind to your hand to the to the blank piece of paper or canvas, right?
Right,
So
right.
um
It's nice to have the digital stuff there, like of like, oh, you need to do a quick color correction before it gets sent up to the printer or something like that, or the
yeah.
photograph that has a dot on it and you need to get rid of the dot. Like, yeah, that's good to have. That's a benefit, but yeah,
Hmm.
I get it. You want to be there for the experience, and there's no
Yeah.
more intimate way to do that than to actually take those paints and just make it exist. So. I guess I'm curious to say out of all the pieces that you've done, and it could be magic or non-magic, what would you say what would you say the one is that you're most proud of? Like out of all of them.
Well, proud of. I It's a very tough question. Well, I can say I don't really know because so I think the okay, personally for me, I think the value of the art should be judged by the fans and the players. So if the fans are happy, they appreciate the art, then I'm happy. So as a painter who has painted, because if I make I can't be someone who favorite this art because I tend to, my habit is I tend to, you know what, I look at this, I want to do something even better in the future. I might be consistent doing that. Sometimes I might not, depends on the subject, but I think the one that I most enjoy doing, I would say is the Seat of Empire, Eganjo. Yeah. So I know I use 3D for that as well as a base thing, but I think that that task was very challenging. And yeah, I think that was because I don't know, I just something just when I was doing it, well, the process of creating the art, it's just very different. And coming from Asia, because it's like somewhat I relatable in some ways
Mhm.
that the architecture styles, the the gardens, the Zen gardens, all these kind of elements, and then some of the very subtle sci-fi elements in it. Because in Kamigawa, it's not like pure sci-fi. You don't see things like it has like cross-cultural. So
Right.
that itself makes things unique for me. I was about to say in between the one in Modern Horizon 3, there's also a Kamigawa one. There was what's the name of the card?
The ones that for plane chase that you were talking, is that the one?
No, it's not plane chase. It's a commander set from MH3. There
Oh,
was a
and it was,
land.
yeah, and and it was, I think it was originally like called Modern Horizon, I think was the name of it.
Yes, yes, yes. It was originally called Modern Horizon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Horizon of Progress. Horizon of
yeah,
Progress.
I
Yeah.
believe, yeah, that's yeah, that one, yeah, that, I mean, that is a beautiful piece, and it's it exemplifies exactly what you're talking about, that intimate knowledge of the place that it's inspired from, yet it has that dash of otherworldliness that get from the science fiction. And I guess a few more questions for you before I let you go. If you could do anybody, any card, any character, dream assignment, who would you like to do?
I
What
have answers in my head.
I mean, I
I
mean,
already
I
have answers, yeah.
you have answers. I mean,
Yeah.
like, can you tell me them, I mean, maybe not counting the ones that, okay, if they're ones that you're working on that are NDA, we can leave those
Mhm.
out. But
Okay, it's a wish list, right? It's like a
a
wish
wish
list.
list, yes, yes.
Right. All right. Can I give you more than one, or is it like
You can give me more than one. You can give
I
me as
hope I
many.
hope art directors actually watch this video.
Yeah,
So
no, that's why I do this, because I like to think, hey, who knows? You throw it out there, maybe it
yeah.
happens.
Okay, I'm gonna start painting hands now. I'm gonna start painting a lot of hands. So I think the first card is Soul Ring. So
Okay,
yeah, Soul Ring. And then I can't think of a reprints because those are like reserve list, right? So definitely no reprints. The other one would be Counterspell. Yeah,
that would be cool.
because I'm a blue-white player. So
Oh, Azorius. Oh, I
yeah,
see how that
yeah.
is. I love breaking out my Azorius when I want to make someone's day just bad.
I was about to say Ristic Study, but maybe not.
I mean, I mean, it always is going, there's always going to be a need for like a alternate take of it, you know what I mean? Like, it's one
For
of those
Ristic Study?
cards. Well, yeah, in a sense that the artwork, I don't think that you can get, these cards are so, now at this point the cards are so mythical themselves, like when a new version of an artwork comes out for, say, like a staple, I think people are much more open to seeing new artwork then, because
Mhm.
like, I remember a few years ago, like some of the old school Magic players were real kind of like pissy about the artistic shift in Magic. They're like, Magic should look this way, and Magic should be this, and Magic
Mhm.
should be that. And I don't go that route. I'm like, no, I want to see. To me, it's like listening to a cover of a song. You know, and
Mhm.
if it's done well, it can be
Mhm.
just as good as the original. So, yeah, I go for it. Are
I
there any?
I was very skeptical because I think the late I think some of the no not some I think the last reprint for Ristic Study was done by Serena Malin, right?
Hmm.
Was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yes.
I don't think I can top that. No way.
Okay, I gotcha.
In my opinion it's so perfect that you know what I'm not gonna do anything. Just gonna use that.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
valid. That's valid. So then I wonder, because I've seen your artist proofs. You got a planeswalker in there. I know there's a planeswalker hiding in there. I've seen you painting, like you sketching, all these things on the back of your artist proofs. I wonder, would you take on a planeswalker if you could?
Yes, Well, my initial plan, it's not plan, my ideal dream of doing Jace because yeah,
He's yeah.
I like Jace. I have a little like a toy with Jace somewhere
Yeah.
in the back. So I like him. I know many people hate him based on the story. So
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, oh, I mean,
he ran away from the during the invasion, right?
well, he's just, I think Jace is just trying to, he just wanted to, get married and have a kid. I mean, what's so wrong about that?
Yeah,
He
but
just like,
my friends are pretty pissed
I
at
know.
his
I'm
yeah.
like, Liliana was bad for him. Like, they weren't a good
Mm.
couple, but Vraska and him, they work. Like, they work for each other. I say, let the kids be happy. But no, I think people get mad at Jace for the wrong reasons. Because he's sort of like the Tom Cruise of like magic. Like, he's handsome and he's mysterious, and maybe everybody sort of wants to be but yet he's always so confused because he's so smart. He's like, maybe people get jealous because it's like, oh, he's so handsome and tortured by his own brilliance, like, oh, but he's definitely up your alley as far as like, your blue, your sort of blue themes, and I've seen your like little sketches of like
Oh, it's
the
gonna be a dream come true for
yeah, Jace
to
would be
do Jace. Yeah,
Jace would be
because I also
fun.
saw the trailer. I think the game Spellslinger. As a little trailer, and Jace was doing his own thing. He's so cute. Like he's so him. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that Jace is due. I think I'd vote for it. I'd say I'd say we gotta see a new Jace. And anybody who doesn't like it can just
Well, yeah. I wish I can have a chance to do Jace, but let's see if he's gonna be appear in any other set soon. I don't know. So
oh, he's got it. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, like, Jace is I mean, you can only break so many hearts. I mean, like, after the March of the Machines, it was like they stomped on. I mean, we're still trying to get over Tamio. So,
yeah,
like, that one was a real kick in the nuts. And
yeah.
so
That's a shocker. That's
that
shocking.
one that one really was a real,
Yeah,
like, I was
hurts a
just
lot
like,
of people too. It's
yeah, it
like
was like, what? Like, the
yeah,
sweetest, kindest, most like nurturing, helpful. She has kids that she adopted, like,
yeah.
and then just boom, she's this evil. It was, oh, the and the
Mhm.
artwork, seeing her like doing all these horrible things to other creatures.
Oh yeah. Oh
It
my God. Yeah,
it
yeah.
was gut wrenching, and it's because of that Jin Gitaxis, that bastard.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. It's good. You want to hate the villain. You're like, he was just, he's the bad scientist. So I'm glad
Yeah.
he got what was coming. He got taken care of, and she's free. But yeah, that was a rough one for
Yeah,
sure.
it was. It was. It was shocking. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to, like, would like to point to as far as where people can get in touch with you if they want to get artist proofs, anything that you'll be like prints,
Mhm.
all that stuff, where should they go, all that good stuff? I can put it in the show notes, but if you want to tell people now, here, you feel free.
Yeah, I have social medias on. I'm quite active on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter X, but not as active as much. But
Yeah,
on Blue Sky, I migrated a lot of things on to Blue Sky
yeah, Blue
because
Sky's
uh,
much less toxic.
yeah, so because it's all artists, so I can see a lot of great arts, and they can. I have my own website. It's juliankok.com. So I sell my playmats on Etsy. So if you go to my Blue Sky or Instagram, you can actually drop me a message. I reply to all my messages,
Okay.
or even Twitter or X. You can just drop me a message or any messages. So I reply almost everyone. Yeah, yeah. So on Facebook as well, if anyone has Facebook. But reason being, I'm more active on Instagram because it's where I'm from. Because over here in Asia, Instagram is like everyone's using it compared
Hmm.
to the rest. So that would be more. I wouldn't say convenient, but that would be
It just you'd be quicker to
yeah,
respond, right?
yeah, it's quicker for me to respond as well. Um so yeah, just you can just follow me on my IG page, and otherwise you can drop me an email on my website. There's a contact section. You can just drop me email, which some of the players and fans does that, and then they just drop me email, and then I'll just reply through emails. Um, yeah, so either way, so I'm perfectly fine with anything.
Well, it's been awesome. And thank you so much again for taking the time to do this. I'm sorry about
Oh,
our
thank you for the time. You're supposed to do this last year, but then I have something going on, and I
you were
have to
very
be
busy.
abroad. Yeah.
But I know I saw your line in Chicago in 2024 and you were just like I was like I wanted to go up and at least introduce myself, but you had an audience. So I was like, well, shit, I'll have to wait until he's more approachable because you guys once you're at those events, I mean like you are signing
Mm.
nonstop until the end of the day. So it's good for
Yeah,
you.
but I remember it was the first day of like the event. I actually just landed from the straight from the airport.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, I just landed, just rushed to the event
Oh
place,
my God, jet
and
lag.
then, yeah, yeah, I don't think I slept that day.
No, gosh. Oof,
No, but it
that's
was
rough.
fun. For
Yeah.
the record, it was fun, and then I get to meet all my art directors in person, and
Oh, that's
all the
crazy.
fans. Yeah,
You
so
had
it
never
was fun.
met
It was great fun.
you had never
No,
met them in person. You just it was all email communication and
yeah,
Zoom.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Not even
that's
Zoom. It's just email. So that was the first time I met them. Like I met like Zach. First time I met Zach and Forrest, and some of the other art directors. So
wow.
yeah, I just like, wow, I get to see you like real one
I
right in
never
front of me.
that's funny. I never considered that. But yeah, you're not I mean like you're not based where they are. So
Mm.
yeah, wow. That's got to be crazy to be like, "Oh, hey person that I've been working closely with for the past like year in private." Like
Yeah, and plus the jet lag. So definitely some kind of experience like, okay, I see you now.
yeah, you're
But I'm
like
tired, but I see you now, and still like, doing signings at the same time. But it was awesome. I think that itself, that kind of everything accumulated gives you like a core memory, because you will never forget that kind of thing, because you're jet lag, you're tired, you never seen someone, but you see them now, and then you're signing cards and people are lining up. So yeah, great fun.
it's like surreal almost. It's
It
like a
is,
dream.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it was amazing. I like the fan base. It was great, especially like in the States. Like everyone's so nice, and they're so patient, and fantastic, fantastic. The appreciation that I got I mean, I never expected that. So it was like an eye opener as well for me, because the I didn't know the art made such an impact to
Yeah.
some of the players.
Oh
It's
yes.
like it's like they win the tournament, they win their Friday night magic, and then they just like have this kind of like a memory of or playing experience, which is
It
yeah,
it's yeah, no, I can definitely tell you as somebody who just I keep my eye out and I just like to watch, the artists from afar and it was you exploded. You literally just
yeah.
you were kind of you were in the background and then all of a sudden you were right on the main stage and I was like, wow, good for him.
I was also a fan because right opposite of my booth is actually Doug and Douglas Schiller.
Oh
Uh,
gosh, he's so cool.
so so it was just right. I said, "Oh man, I see him now," because I was like, playing his cards when I was a kid,
Right, right.
and yeah, he was just right opposite. And then I think someone came to my booth, was Steve, I mean, a couple of them. I recognize Steve Belladin,
Oh, geez,
which one of my
yeah.
favorite artists as well. It's like, oh my God, that's Steve, right?
That's so
Like,
cool.
what?
You're that's funny, yeah, because at the same time, yeah, because you want to like be a fanboy, but at the same time they're your coworkers now. So it's like kind of weird, right? You're like, oh, I'm
They
such a
are,
huge fan.
I'm still a fan, like always a fan. They are those people that I look up to. I don't know, I mean, sometimes you just don't see them for many years. I mean, you don't even know them for many years. And then
Yeah.
finally you saw them, it's like, is it real? Like, I keep
Yeah. I
telling
mean,
myself, like,
that's the magic of magic, no pun intended. And that's what's really cool
hmm
is that one,
yeah.
you don't even know it yet, but there are new generations of players that are coming into the game who are going to be having those relationships with your artwork and are going to grow and are going to eventually, some of them are going to make their way into the game, 10, 20 years from now and they will be signing autographs next to you and they'll be having the same types of feelings because it's those experiences that you have, when you start playing Magic that really connect with you. And so you got to be prepared for that to happen because now you're a coworker with Steve Belladin and Donato Giancola, whether you like it or not. So that's pretty cool. You gotta be psyched about that.
I hope to keep doing my best, and I hope to contribute as much as I can to this
I,
franchise.
I
Yeah,
think you
so
will. I have no doubt. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I know it's going to be surprising, and it's been great talking to you today. And I look forward to seeing whatever you got boiling in or in secret. And you know what? Even if let's just say maybe if Jace never happens in the game, you could always do a personal project on the side. You could always just do a Jace on the side and in your free time, just a little bit of Jace there. So then one day it just shows up and then, I mean, people would probably fight over that. I know I would.
yeah, definitely gonna plan something on that because I there's so many things in my mind that I really want to explore to do it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, I mean, there are many things I want to give it a shot. But who knows, right? Like you said, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have it in you, but it's always like I'm always encouraging artists. I'm like, oh, do that secret project you want to do. It just fit in, even if you can only do a little bit at a time, because eventually it'll be this really fucking cool thing, and I will get to see it. It's purely selfish.
There's a positive selfish, so I wouldn't mind.
Well, thank you so much again, and I will talk to you hopefully soon. I'll maybe run into you at the conventions.
Well, it's been a pleasure and really happy to finally manage to talk to you. It's great. I mean, thank you for having me in
Oh, of
this.
course. Thank you for
Yeah,
thank you
thanks
for.
for the chat. It was awesome. It was awesome to be able to share. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great. Yeah, it's been like a privilege.
Oh, no, thank you so much. It's a privilege for me to talk to every one of you guys because you are really it's what got me into Magic was the artwork. I was like, who are these people and how can I learn more? That's basically what I think about when I look at the artwork. So thank you again.
Thanks. Thanks a
Uh,
lot.
See ya.
I see
Okay.
you. Have a good day.